Good morning. It's day one of the 5 days to a stronger pelvic floor. So I am just going to give it a couple of minutes to see if anyone is able to join us live today. Um, as always, it feels a bit uh, dramatic. Um, so I'll just quickly chat about how the day is going to run today. I'm going to talk to you. So our first topic is.
If anyone's there.
Our first topic is the exercises, and they will be. We will look at why pelvic floor strength exercises, the traditional ones, aren't necessarily the best thing for pelvic floor strength. We'll look at the four exercises that cover the essentials. And we will then talk about how to just practice them today. So I'm not going to hang around for too long because I'm sure that um, a lot of people might be busy right now, and hopefully we'll see it on the replay. If you do see it on the replay, do the normal like hashtag replay just to let me know you've seen it. So pelvic floor dysfunction is usually assumed to be because of a weakened pelvic floor. When and so you assume that if you've got a weak pelvic floor, that you then need to strengthen it. Well, actually, the issue usually is because pelvic floor dysfunction is a symptom of problems with your whole body. So a body out of balance, poor postural habits and poor lifestyle habits. Hi, Carolyn, how are you? Um, so we're just talking about what pelvic floor dysfunction is caused by, and we think usually it's weakened muscles in the pelvic floor when actually it's over tight muscles. So doing pelvic floor exercises, your Kegels, your squeeze and release, can actually cause more problems, and because it's like a spot treatment, it might not always give you the long lasting results that you want. So if you think of pelvic floor dysfunction as a symptom of issues with your whole body, which are caused by your lifestyle habits and not just yours particularly, but like society in general's lifestyle habits and postural habits that you get into, and what you end up doing is having a body out of alignment, which causes your pelvis to be out of alignment. And once your pelvis is either tucked under or untucked, so you stand with it tucked under or it's sticking out, then the actual pelvic floor muscles will tighten because the space between, so this is your pelvis, this is the front of your pelvis, these are your hip bones, and obviously here's your spine. So your pelvic floor sits under here. And if you have a pelvis tipped forwards, the distance between here and here is shorter. So the muscles in your pelvis will get shorter. Your pelvic floor muscles will get shorter to compensate that, to adapt to that. And the same this way. That space gets shorter and the pelvic floor muscles shorten just to adapt to that. And then as they become shorter, they become tighter, but they also become weaker. They can't hold everything in. And that's where you get bladder weakness, incontinence, prolapse, fecal incontinence as well. So when we're looking at starting to rehabilitate this, we need to be looking at your whole body, your lifestyle, and making changes that are going to give you long-lasting effects, but also have a great benefit on your whole body as well. So what we're going to do today is look at four exercises that are really good for the main issues. I'm going to go stand over it. This is usually the coldest room in the house. Today it's the warmest. So maybe. Um, so usually we sit a lot. We this is a societal thing that we tend to do. We sit here, and the muscles down the back of the legs get shorter and tighter because the distance between where the muscles join is a shorter distance, so the actual muscles get shorter. So we want to be able to lengthen those muscles, make them make them longer. I won't get into too much about how that is. So that's lengthen. We also need to release tight muscles. These are three things. Um, on the whole, the people who have got pelvic floor issues will also have two tighter muscles in the inner thigh. So we need to release tension there. And then strength-wise, we need to be able to hold the pelvis stable. So you need to build up the muscles around, so your glutes and the muscles around your hips at the side here, so that they can hold your pelvis stable and in a proper alignment, so that your pelvic floor can get to the right length. So your pelvic floor joins onto your pelvic floor muscles all join on to the pelvis at different points, at the back, at the front and the sides. So whatever happens to the pelvis, obviously, is going to have an influence on the pelvic floor. Your pelvis, in turn, joins to your spine and your ribs, and it also joins to your upper legs, and your upper legs have muscles that join them to the lower legs. So whatever's happening from right down to your feet to what's happening with your head position all has an influence on your pelvic floor. So we're going to need to work on your whole body eventually, which you can see is why just spot treating the pelvic floor with Kegels is just not going to help over time. So let's have a look at the 4 exercises. If you've brought with you a rolled up towel, or if you've worked with me before and you've got a half dome, you'll need that first of all. You need the towel rolled up quite tightly so it can be quite firm. We're going to do a calf stretch. So we're going to work on lengthening these muscles at the back of the calves. So I want you to stand facing your half dome. I want you to make sure that your feet are pointing straight ahead. The weight's back in your heels so you can lift up your toes. And make sure you're not tucking your bottom under, but you're just bringing your pelvis over your heels. And then just put the top, the ball of your right foot on the top of your towel or half dome and rest your heel on the floor. You just take a little step forward with your standing leg and you should feel that stretch down the calf. Now, if you want to, if it's too tight, you can take the standing leg back slightly. You might unroll your towel so it's not quite such a tall thing for your foot to rest on. If you want to increase the stretch though, just take the standing leg a little bit more forward. And the idea with all this work is we don't overstretch. You never do so much that you're in that like no pain, no gain kind of mentality. It's all small baby steps, and in a sort of loving and inquiring way almost. You're kind of examining and exploring your body's limits currently, and working on gently increasing the strength or the length or releasing the tension, or in the case of if we like work on the joints, the mobility.
Mom,
So let's move on to the other side.
Mom, can I see your head?
They can't see my head now. So
Can I see you even?
so let's work on the other leg. So again, it's all in the alignment and the setting up and what your body's doing while you're doing the exercises as well. So feet pointing straight ahead. Remember to bring your pelvis over your heels, weight back in your heels, and place the ball of your left foot onto the top of your half dome or towel, and then take a step forward. So some people don't have a half dome, so they're using a towel. And just feel that stretch, and just, what we're building up to is for about half an hour, about a minute for each stretch. But depending on how intense it is, Depends how long you'll take it, and you can build that up as time goes by. So let's do that stretch one more time on each side. See if you can remember. So if you were in a class with me, if I could talk to you and that would be, and I could hear you, I'd say, go and list me the things that you have to do before you put your foot on the half dome. So that's feet pointing straight ahead. Or towel, thank you. Feet pointing straight ahead. Weight back in the heels and bring your pelvis back as well over your heels. And then the last time on the left foot. So it's interesting. What you can start to think about is how is it different? How's the stretch different? Now you've done it twice on both sides. Has it changed? Is it a little bit easier? Are you noticing more of a stretch quicker? Do you notice one side's tighter than the other side? One foot pokes out more than the other foot. Just start to build up a little idea of what your body's doing and how it's working right now. So the next stretch we're going to do is what's called the double calf stretch. So this is where you'll need a stool or a chair.
Yeah.
And you're going to stand a couple of inches in front of the chair.
Yeah.
Or stool. Again, feet pointing straight ahead. Weight in the back of your heels. And then we're going to hinge at the hips. So we're going to come forwards into a forward bend. But how we do that is really important. We're not going to come forward so that your back is rounded and you can feel strain on your lower back, because that's not going to stretch the muscles down the back of the legs. So what you're going to do is you're going to think you've got a joint, a pin here in the center of your hips that's going to allow you to bend. And you can see that you've also got to think about taking your bum out behind you. So I always think that that's the easiest cue. Take your bum out behind you. You're automatically folding, but keeping your back straight. Now you should feel the stretch coming up the calves and further up into your hamstrings there. Now, if it's too intense, if you find that you can't bend right down, you've got too tight muscles, then you can just put some cushions or do this on the back of the chair just so that you've got a little bit of a bend, but you're not stressing yourself. And again, it's just a chance to hang out here. So all these exercises, you can see you can be doing them whilst you're doing other things. The calf stretch, while you're cleaning your teeth. This one's quite nice to get up and you can still do stuff on your computer while doing the stretch. Okay, and the next one, so that's we're looking at stretching all these muscles that have got too tight from a lot of sitting, and we sit everywhere, don't we? Office, at home, at the kitchen table while we're eating, settee in the evening, driving a car. We're always sitting in that same position. So the next one, we're going to look at releasing some tension here. So some stretches, some gentle stretches here. So you can have that in a minute. I just need to use it now. So you're going to take a wide stance. And again, you're going to hinge at the hips to come into a forward position. And then you're just going to bend one knee so you can feel that stretch down here. And you'll feel it, wherever you're the tightest is where you'll feel the stretch, but it should be in this area here. And then you just come to standing, bend the other knee and allow that stretch. And I find this one is the one that I love the most because so much tension there. This one's quite fun to do. And you can hold each stretch for, just a short amount of time if you need to. Sometimes it's all about listening to your body, what your body's telling you. If you want to hang out here for a little bit longer, then you can. If not, just do the switch from one leg to the other in shorter amounts. We're really starting to, with this program that I teach, is starting to just get you a bit more aware about your body and what's going on. Now, I can't see any comments, so, and this keeps happening to me on lives. So if you are commenting and I'm not responding, I'm sorry. I'll come back afterwards. Okay, so that's 3 stretches. We've done the calf stretch, which is on each individual one. You've done the double calf stretch, which is coming down, folding onto the stool, and you've done the inner thigh stretch, which is from side to side. So the last one we're going to do is really, really good fun. It's called the monster walk, and this is once we've stretched muscles, we've looked at releasing tension. We're now going to look at strengthening the muscles, or some of the muscles that help to hold the pelvis in place. So that's working on these muscles at the side of your hips, just here. So coming into a wide stance, you want to give yourself a bit of room because we're going to move from one side of the room to the other. So whilst you're standing here, still want your feet to be pointing straight ahead. Still want the weight back in your heels. And then to start with, just rock from side to side and just see if you can start feeling these muscles working as they take the weight of each of your legs. And then without bringing your legs close, so we're not sidestepping, but we are going to take this leg a little bit further away and then bring that leg in so that you've still got the same distance in between your legs. So a couple of inches of moving, and just move across your room. And when you get to the other side, just coming back. Now, this is one that starts off and you think that's quite easy. And then after a X amounts of length or width, you start to feel it in your muscles, and it comes on quite strong. So do as many as you can for now. Let's finish here. Shall we do one more across? And stop. I'm going to borrow this stool again.
Okay.
So those are the 4 exercises. We've got lengthening ones, releasing ones, and strengthening ones. They are real good basis, nucleus, foundation for starting to work on your pelvic floor. And what I want you to do today is to practice those again. Let me just grab my notes. Just check the time. And we're just on 1:30. Okay. So I want you to do those stretches, those exercises. I want you to decide which one is your favourite and think about why it's your particular favourite. And it might be because it feels great when you're doing it, or it might feel like you're stretching a place that's never been stretched before, or working a muscle that you haven't worked before and you're quite interested in seeing how that works. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. And Carolyn or Caroline? Sorry, that same thing. Or is this favourite one because you're because it feels great while you're doing it, or maybe great afterwards? You might like it because it's the easiest one. You might like it because it's the hardest one. Or you might start to think about that it's working different muscles that you don't work during the day, and you might just really enjoy one of the exercises. And I want you to, just practice them once or twice. I don't want to be too much of a taskmaster. And then we're going to meet back here at 5, and I'd love to know how you've got on. I'd love to know what you think of each of those exercises. Any ahas you had? Have you found one side's tighter than the other? Do your feet point out in different directions than you were expecting? Have you got any questions about any of the exercises? Any things that you were like, well, how do I do that? Tomorrow, we're going to build on those exercises and work out how to put them into your daily life and explain why that's so important, that you don't just do a routine of exercises, but you find a way to be able to sprinkle them throughout your day. So that's it for this morning. I just want to remind you that we're starting some weekly classes for that include stretching and strengthening and relaxation as well, which is so important, which we'll see later on in the week why relaxation is so important. They start on Saturday. I haven't done weekly classes before. It's something new that I want to try and see if it's helpful for people. Some people don't enjoy a program as such, but would prefer to work on classes. So that's an option as well. And I'll put a link in the comments on how to join that. But thank you, Caroline, for joining me. That's lovely to have someone that I'm actually talking to. It makes the life a little bit easier. And hopefully see you at 5. Our shopping's just turned up, so that's perfect timing. And I'll speak to you later. Take care. Have a good day. Bye bye.